Hey, I'm Shaye Wanner, and you are listening to the Casual Cattle Conversations podcast. Whether you are a seasoned rancher or just curious about the cattle world, this podcast dives into the stories, science, and strategies shaping the future of ranching. Let's get started and keep your herd ahead of the herd. Does tax season make you want to bang your head against the wall? Is billing a bad word in your household? Does meeting with your ag lender make your blood pressure rise? Stress a little less with cattle management software, Performance Beef. It tracks important feed, financial, and health data, all in one system. The result? You can pull inventories, detailed financials, and invoices in minutes. Get ahead for next year's tax season. Visit performancelivestockanalytics.com to learn more, and you can find that link in the show notes. Folks, I am excited today because this is a solo episode, and you longtime listeners know I don't do very many of those. Now, this one, we are going to be focusing on how to know which herd management software is right for you. And I think a lot of the things we're going to talk about today can also apply to any time we're sorting through any technology for our operation. But I specifically want to talk herd management software for a few reasons. One, there are a lot of different platforms out there, a lot of different ways to do it, whether we're talking your red calving book, your red notebook, whatever you want to call it, all the way up to your completely digital platforms. And for a lot of us, it might be a combination of something in between. But regardless of how we choose to keep those records, what matters most is that we are keeping those records. Because being able to have those records can help us improve from year to year, whether we are looking at pregnancy rates, weaning weights, other genetic factors. Some of that could even tie into nutrition. Really, any management decision we want to make, we can look back at those herd records for some data to kind of back up our decisions and make sure that some of those things actually did happen, to what extreme they happened, and where we need to start to fix it. There is one more thing that we should probably bring up when it comes to these herd records, and that's having the right system can really overall help increase your profitability, like we talked about, as far as being able to make more informed management decisions, but it's also going to reduce your stress load, at least for the person who is keeping those records. Because if it's the right system for you, it's going to feel seamless, it's going to make sense, and it's going to be efficient, so that way you're not wasting a bunch of time. Because they're so important to keep, but they do take time, and it is something you don't want to rush through because you want to make sure everything's correct. So even just the profitability and reducing stress on the operation, I think those speak for themselves. So let's dive more into it. There are 6 key factors that I really think ranchers should consider when we're talking about how to pick which herd record management system is for you. And I'm speaking from someone who grew up on the seedstock side, still am today, but don't do a lot of the record keeping on that, and then transferred into more of a commercial operation. And in both of that, I've seen a combination of record keeping. You know, there's a little pen and paper and technology on both of them. There's more advanced technology. There's just, maybe not more advanced technology, but there's just different types of technology that have been being used. My mom really has her own system. When I came on to my husband's operation, my sister-in-law had built out a system when she was in college. She's not necessarily active on the operation now, but we had been using those Excel spreadsheets and templates. And then I transitioned us into another program, just simply based on our needs and also my needs as the person keeping the records. So I've done a little bit of everything on here. I just want to share some of those real experiences and things I've picked up. So number 1 for key factors to consider when picking your herd management software is, what problem is it going to solve for you? Is it going to solve one problem, or is it going to solve many problems? If it's going to solve many problems, is it going to be able to eliminate, say, another program or technology that you're using to make things even more streamlined, more efficient, and maybe even save you some costs down the road? So what this might look like is, it really depends on what challenges you're having with your herd record. Do you simply just need to improve your ability to take them and write them down? Are you someone who's so in the moment, running around day to day, that sometimes you have it up here in your head, but then maybe it doesn't get down into your cell phone or onto the pen and paper, or maybe being able to enter it into the cell phone is going to help with that problem. So is it that problem? Are you trying to integrate different softwares? Are you using multiple technologies, whether that's EIDs, other tags, DNA samples that you want to link to different animals, whatever it may be? Do you need something that links all those together? And is there a combination of things? Now, I always say this is an important factor to remember, because whether it's solving one or many factors is going to play into what it's worth to you and what that return on investment is going to be. So keep that in mind. Is how many problems is it going to solve for you? And maybe before you even go looking at herd record softwares, write down a list of problems that you want to solve on your ranch, whether you think they relate to herd records or not, but because you might be surprised at what some technologies can do. So maybe even start there first. Number 2, is it going to be applicable in 5 years? So, if you wrote down that list of problems you'd like to solve on your ranch, how many of those are in your 5 or even 10-year plan? Now, if you're looking at especially a more tech-based platform for herd record keeping, is that solution going to fit with your operation in 5 years as you work towards some of these other problems? Is it going to have a place? And do you think it will adapt with you? I mean, so many of these programs are constantly updating and changing and becoming more and more useful with the rancher as we grow and update. But you want to make sure that it's not a temporary solution, because transferring all your information into a platform can take some time. Even if you're able to upload like a CSV file, like if you already have it in, say, a different platform or on Excel or whatever you're using, it's still going to be a little bit of a process from the beginning. So we want to make sure that you're not wasting your time, and that wherever you're putting that time, it's going to be beneficial to you in 5 years down the road. So that way you don't have to continue to go through that process time and time again. Ideally, we want to find the fit for you and start working on it right away. And maybe that means taking the time to use that free trial and figure out how you like it. Number 3, cost. We talked about this a little bit when we talked about, is it solving one problem or many problems? And that's what it's worth to you and what the cost is worth. So there might be a super cool platform out there that you want to use, but are you going to use all the features in their fullest capability where you are going to see that return on investment? And maybe you don't in the first year. Maybe it's, down the road you use it, but you want to keep that in mind. And, how is that cost? Is it a cost per head? Is it, from this range of animals, it's free. From here, it's at a lower cost. And then when you get over here, it's increasingly more expensive. But as you have more animals to manage, I understand that can become more valuable to you as well. But just keep that in mind when you're looking at the return on investment and the cost. Are you going to use all those features, and do you need all those features? Because that goes back to, again, how many problems is it solving for you? So keep that in mind when you're looking at a platform. Number 4, user access. This ties into cost and also how many problems it's solving for you. I think about the platform we use, and it's really nice because my husband, myself, if my father-in-law wanted to, he could also have it. We could all have the app on our phones. We could all update in real time if we wanted to, and that would all sync wonderfully, right? We all have access to that. But maybe there are some platforms where only one person can have access, and after that, another user might cost more. So keep in mind user access when you're looking at the cost of the overall platform. Maybe only one person needs access to it. Maybe 2 or 3 do. So keep that in mind depending on how many people, how many hired hands, whatever it may be, need access to that information. But also take that to another level. Do all those people need access to that information every day? Or do some of them only need access to the information a couple times a year when they want to look stuff up? Because maybe you can fill in the gaps there in other ways and get creative too. But keep in mind user access when you are looking at those herd management platforms and the cost and return on investment that they'll provide. Number 5, especially when we're looking at tech platforms. Is it web-based? Is there an app? And can you use self-service? And do you have self-service where you'll be needing it? These are all things that are important, especially if you're using an app. Say, even if you don't have self-service, is it going to automatically sync once you get to self-service? That's going to be a big factor. Or do you need to be on Wi-Fi? Because that might be very limiting for a lot of us depending on where we are located. And so I brought up web-based right away. If the platform is only web-based, there's no app, you can only use it on, say, your computer, how are you going to keep track of those notes in the moment until you get back to your computer? And maybe if you're like me, I really like to have a combination of both. If it's like a simple entry, like treated this cow for pink eye, or, moved bulls or pulled bulls on this date, moved these cows to this pasture, whatever record it might be, those simple ones are easy to do on my phone. But if we're looking at maybe some of the larger ones, if we're, talking about we worked calves today and we gave this many shots, we poured them, we did X, Y, Z, maybe some of those I want to do on my computer a little more, just because there might be a few here or there, maybe we were missing this calf, yada, yada, yada. Just anything like that. Sometimes I like to use the web-based platform a little more. So keep that in mind as you're looking at these. If you just want a web-based, if you want something that's app-based, do you want both? And then again, how does it function without Wi-Fi or without cell service? So that way you can keep in mind what's going to work best for you in your area. I live in an area where, for the most part, we have pretty good cell service. And if I need to, I can just drive to the top of a hill to get enough service in the pasture. But I know a lot of people don't have that. So keep that in mind. And finally, ease of use for those who need it. Now, when we're talking about user access, how many people need it, but also what are the technological capabilities of those people who are using this platform? Are they pretty high tech? Or do they need a little more help learning and using stuff? Are they open to learning it? Or are they a little more resistant to technology? I really don't think how technological you are or how adaptive you are to technology has much to do with age. I know some pretty advanced people in the older generation who can grasp what's happening with technology and learn it pretty quick. And I also know some younger people who are really hesitant and resistant to it. So I think it comes down more to mindset. But keep that in mind on your operation. Who needs the app? Who wants the app? And how easy is it going to be for them to run it? Now, I said app. Sorry, that's what I'm used to. But same thing, even if you are going to, say, make your own Excel spreadsheet. Is everyone on your operation who needs to access that able to understand what you have going on there? And are they going to input things in the correct format? So just keep that in mind. Now, a bonus thought that came up as I was talking through this with you all is taking that time to onboard. And, early on I talked about maybe you need to take that time to sort through some free trials to see which app is going to be best for you. But also, if you're going to do that, take the time to fully onboard. Have a meeting with someone from the company. Make sure that you are going to use this to its fullest capability. Talk with them about, here are my main problems I want to solve. So that way you are using the best features you can. And I think sometimes it's overwhelming because there can be so many neat features in these programs, but we don't always know where to start. We're starting at the bare bones. When we switched platforms over a year ago, I know that first year I did not use our platform to its fullest capability. But this year I'm using it a little more than I did last year. And we're getting there. It's just taken time and it's taken a transition. So keep that in mind as well as you're working through these. But don't be afraid to take that time to onboard and ask those company reps for help and support along the way. So those are my main tips for what to think through when you are picking a herd record management program or herd record software. Kind of feels like a mouthful the whole time I've been talking to you guys, but just to recap that, what problem or problems is it going to solve for you? Is it applicable in 5 years or more? What's the cost of it? What's user access look like? How many people need it, want it, and can have it within that cost range? Is it web-based or app-based or both? And then what's the ease of use for those who need it? So that is what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you all for listening. Remember, the best way to support this podcast, as well as your other favorite podcasts, is to leave a rating or review and share it with a friend who would find this information valuable. Also, if you have been listening to the audio platform, please know that I have been doing full video podcasts for years, and all of those are up on YouTube. So if there's ever anything that you want to see the guest, you want to see the slides we're talking about, because every now and then we share a few of those, be sure to go to that YouTube page and then you can watch it there. But with that, happy ranching, folks.